All right.
Happy Wednesday.
It's
Hump Day.
Hump
It's Hump Day. Wow.
Hump Day. Man, that was quick. BJ.
Yeah, I know. It was a beautiful shot of our city. We had some fair weather clouds out there, and
let's talk
we missed
about
the storms today.
Yeah, we missed. Hey, we didn't miss the storms. Storms missed us.
Yes, and we called it.
I'm just kidding.
We did.
We're the forecasters. I am Chief
are.
Meteorologist Demetrius Ivory from WGN-TV here in Chicago. I'm joined with Bill Snyder.
Right.
Look, Bill Snyder has been forecasting on this rock, same dang city, since the Mesozoic period. His 30th anniversary is coming up this year.
Oh, I'm telling you, you better, you know what?
And we're waiting for things.
Yeah, you better.
BJ brought the clickers and it's the wrong one. He brought two clickers and it's the wrong one. Okay,
I'm telling you, yes.
Thanks,
look
Tim.
at this. It's a good thing that we got a lot of staff around here.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Look at this. This is what we call the chef making the stew right now. This is what's going on right now, folks. You are witnessing it live.
I do want to say Bill Snyder, the most accurate, longest tenured, currently employed meteorologist.
By the way, just to make a little mention, we had 84 today. Guess what the high was?
84.
We'll take it.
Really?
Yeah, really.
There you go. Weather rate. Take that. We aren't paying you a dime.
We're not paying anything, man. Don't need it. Don't need to.
All right, so we are joined, and so our
mystery guest.
Our mystery guest, who we're cozying up to.
We are. This is the third night already, and
BJ, we'll take some time for BJ to get himself ready, but let me just explain something to you. If you notice that your WGN meteorologists are smiling more, are happier more, it's because of this guy. It's because of this guy.
It's true.
We are now fully staffed. Everybody as a team was working to, create, to fix staffing shortages that we've had.
Right.
We didn't kill each other.
No. And I mean, and not only did we have staffing shortages, but we were coming out of arguably one of the most challenging summers ever when it comes to storms.
End of winter, spring, and summer.
That's true. No, that's very true. Yeah, it's not just been summer.
Almost said your name. Everybody knows who this person is on the internet, but not on the forecasters. We are still, we are just not, it's not Paul Conrad. We're putting that there to redact this guy's image.
Right. But he's going to be with Paul tomorrow.
He will be with Paul Conrad tomorrow, but you're not making the forecasters yet. You're not on the until we find out a couple more things about you. How you doing today?
I'm good. Was out with some reporters today. Learning the trade a little bit more. See how things flow out in the community.
That for anyone, kids want to go to school for meteorology or whatever, you have to learn reporting.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere along the way.
Yep.
Because a lot of, especially the smaller markets, they can't employ just guys that just do weather.
No,
they need somebody who's going to report.
That's right.
And sometimes it's general assignment reporting. So
it's such a good skill to have, though.
It is
such a good skill because you never know when you're going to be out sent to a weather event. Reporting on it.
Yeah, for sure.
So what did you cover today?
We covered the Meta settlement thing that's going on. About basically they're putting more restrictions on for younger kids, teenagers.
Okay. All right. So kind of indoors type thing?
A little bit. We went out to a school, talked to some families.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good. Are you good with man on the street? I think that being a meteorologist and a reporter is great for men on the street because people come up to you and they're like, how about the weather? What do you think about the raise in taxes? It's easy to get that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to find out more about them. We're almost done. This is the third date. We're almost done.
So I think we had a few red flags, but I think that we're able to overlook those red flags.
I'm still not over the pineapple.
You're not over the pineapple?
Yeah,
I know. That's definitely high on your list.
I'll at least try it. I would try it.
Okay, you try it.
Yeah, give them that.
We'll give her another round.
All right, so a couple questions here. What was the one that I had earlier today? I forgot that quickly.
I already forgot too.
Well, first off, what's the last time you've been arrested?
A couple days. No
felony. Omit felonies. Okay.
Yeah. Never.
You don't speed or anything like that?
Nah, I've gotten pulled over. It's probably been 7 years. No, really? It's not. It's not been. No, it was 2 years ago.
Well, with us, we don't get arrested.
I got pulled over.
We just get that thing in the mail where it's like, did I really go down Irving Park?
Right, exactly. The speed cameras,
at
right?
30,
speed cameras.
37 miles per hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going 5 over, you're going to get something in the
5
mail.
over. So.
Yeah.
Since you've been in Chicago, because you've been in Chicago for a few weeks.
Yeah, been here for a few weeks.
What has surprised? Just tell me something that surprised you.
I have been just so, and I don't know if it was fully surprised, but just it's been a nice relief of being back in that Midwestern atmosphere and just how everyone says hi to each other.
Yeah.
Like being in the elevator, I'm just talking to people. And like, it was different where I was at. Not that they're not friendly. They're very friendly people. It's just, it's a different demeanor. And it's so nice and a little refreshing to be back to that. I can go ask my neighbor for sugar.
Sure.
Or maybe a bottle of wine.
There you go. Well, because you got a big wine. That was another thing. He told us that one of his passions, I guess, wine tasting.
Yeah.
The higher level.
Trying to learn. And definitely no sommelier, that's for sure. I would love to do that, but we're trying to learn. We're trying our best to learn a little bit more.
And now, it's been 3 days that you've been here at the station. You haven't been on TV.
Not yet.
Is that driving you nuts yet?
No, it's actually it's nice.
Really, it drove me nuts. Like I was like, put me on TV.
Well, because I know like moment we're in it, we're going. It's full speed ahead.
Yeah, it's full speed ahead. So he will be on Courtesy Desk tomorrow.
Yes.
With Paul.
Yeah, that's a good way to kind of groom him.
And you've never met Paul.
Never met Paul.
Everybody goes through the Courtesy Desk. Yeah, you're gonna
going to be
love
great.
Paul. Yeah.
All right, we got an extra mic for BJ Cam. I think the heart rate's high.
Oh,
today.
it's
we
over
look
100.
good. We look
for sure.
good.
It's over
and again,
100.
we have our newest member here. He's mic'd up. We're not showing him. We're showing the spectacularly handsome Paul Conrad when he had hair.
Right.
Instead, because we want to check the red flags before we put this guy on the forecaster. So we're gonna make sure there.
Hey, do we have any graphics to go to?
We do have. Well, let's go to BJ first. Let's go to BJ.
Cam. Yeah, let's see if we can.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent.
Oh,
My mic's
BJ,
working.
how's the heart rate?
Heart rate is fine. The heart rate's
fine.
not.
It's triple digits. Triple digits. Yeah,
the heart rate is not the issue today.
Okay.
So
it's triple digits. All right. Let's take a look at weather graphics if we can. Now, here's a question. I keep almost saying your name, man. I can't.
It's gonna slip.
Yeah, it's gonna slip.
Let's go to weather graphics while we talk this over. So, what do you do? And people always say when you're wrong. And I know wrong is a relative and ridiculous term. But what do you do when you make a call and that call just turns bad? The next day, do you talk about it or do you not? Or do you just?
I'll talk about it.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, a lot of people.
I'll talk about it. Yeah, because I mean, my first thing I want to do is I want to dive into where did I go wrong so I can learn from it.
Yeah.
Where did I go wrong?
Right.
So I can make a better forecast.
But you do that on it because what if somebody didn't watch yesterday and they watched today and they're like,
all right, go for it.
Okay. I'll admit it, but man, doesn't happen.
Whoa!
Hey, we're hot right now.
Me.
Bill, we've been hot all summer.
We've been hot, but there's no question that despite the fact that our computer models are so awesome in this day and age, and what we have, the tools we have available to us to forecast the weather, it's not perfect. It is still not a perfect science, but we are so much better than we were years ago. Yeah. I mean, and that's a fact.
And that's a big question. What's your favorite computer model?
Right,
right
that's
now.
A good one.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
right
that
now.
is a big one. Right.
Right
like
now. That. Well, okay, so this one's going to be hard because I'm obviously just now getting here and trying to learn which ones I'm liking the best.
True.
But I will say where I was, we had a WRF model that was specified for the state.
Oh,
and
wow.
it
How about that?
for where we're at in the unique WRF.
It's like
the old GFS?
WRF is the NAM.
Oh.
WRF is basically the NAM.
And
I'm thinking of MRF.
MRF is GFS.
Yeah, MRF is GFS.
WRF is a NAM.
But obviously you all know the unique season that we had where I lived.
Yeah.
It was very chaotic and most models would not pick it up very well. But this model generally gave you a pretty good idea. But then again, I mean, there was days where we would forecast a big chance for storms and nothing. And then the next day, we get nailed.
I would never guess that.
Yeah.
It's a place that'll humble you.
Bill is a Euro.
I am definitely, that is
fan.
In my eyes, that is the Cadillac model, especially when we're talking about something, within 3 to 5 days. But when we're looking at short-term trends, we're trying to, I nail down timing on precipitation, thunderstorms, and so forth. I think that I'm starting to really like the new RRFS, which is Rapid Refresh Forecast System, which will be taking over the HRRR.
But it did, but it screwed the pooch this week. Earlier this week, it screwed the pooch. But that's all. I don't have a favorite. Well, no. I have my favorite models are just because they're old school models. Like, I won't say your name again. If I said NGM, would you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard of it before.
See, that's good.
All right, that's good. Is it?
I thought that was going backward.
Yeah, that's too far.
Nested grid model.
That's the grid. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
It is a long. Yeah, those.
Because you're only he's
since.
decades younger than us. The fact that you know, so you're like kind of one of the, like you just are interested in whether.
I mean, what got my passion? I mean, really just that's why I dive deep into it.
That's my other question. What made? And once again, folks, we are not talking with Paul Conrad. There's a cutout of him there because we are not showing our newest member yet. You can see him on the
courtesy desk tomorrow morning. Yeah.
But we want to know. We're looking for red flags here. So what got you into weather?
Yeah. So when I was 6 years old, a F2 tornado with F3 damage destroyed my hometown. Wow. And we decided to stay in our mobile home that night. And it came within about 200 yards.
Wow.
We were very fortunate. So I was terrified.
This was where?
This is in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Very small town in Kentucky.
Wow.
And you know.
And you were in a mobile home?
Mobile home.
Wow.
Parents are still in that house.
Wow.
What?
They're still in that house.
That is something else. That's something to know about.
That would scare me.
You got a nice story.
So
it's a really good story.
It definitely it made me scared of weather growing up, and then it became what can I do to make sure people don't make that decision that we made?
Pretty cool. So, and what if you weren't a meteorologist? What would you do?
So there was a brief stint where I was about to kind of switch, and it was kind of more once I was getting into the college mindset, and I was like, oh, you know what? I think I want to study glaciers. So I was going to get my meteorology degree and then go get my doctorate in glaciology until they said 7 years to get my doctorate. And I said, no, I'm good. I'm not doing 7 years.
Wow.
Not doing it.
There can't be 7 schools in the country that will give a doctorate in glaciology.
Not many. But the school I was talking to, they were doing the research I was looking into.
Yeah.
I'd have to do a short stint in Antarctica. That'd be awesome.
And you said earlier, if you got a chance to forecast anywhere, it would be Antarctica, which is hilarious because it's a desert, dude.
Yeah.
But hey, forecasters are weird.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this guy wants to look at a block of ice for eternity.
Sure.
You know, what would you do?
Take me to the glacier.
If you weren't a meteorologist, what would you do? I mean, I know you've been doing this since you were
since I was in diapers. So, I do enjoy sports. So, besides my fascination with weather, which harkens back to my childhood days, the other passion that I had was to be an announcer. Like a Harry Carey or a Jack Brickhouse or Steve Stone. I kind of enjoyed, I thought, well, that would be cool to go into broadcasting and actually broadcast the games. But, I was a very passionate fan growing up. And my mother always told me, she said, your emotions fluctuate with every play.
Right.
She goes, I don't see how you could ever announce a game without losing control.
Yeah, you're good until the first fumble, then after
that's
that,
then it's all over. So hey,
I would have been an oceanographer if I had a chance.
Okay,
or a teacher.
Okay.
Okay, where are we going?
We're going to DuPage. You remember how Demetrius, you missed it because you were gone. But we had 2 instances last week where the tornado sirens went off. So we have an update on those false alarms in DuPage County. Twice this month, tornado warning sirens have sounded in error, including a 3 a.m. alarm that woke many people up. DuCom, which manages the sirens, says its investigation has found no evidence of a hack or malicious intent. The overnight warning siren was triggered by human error during a planned system test. Managers say the second false alarm happened because a component that activates the alarm malfunctioned. They've now removed that device and say they're simplifying the system, eliminating that potential point of failure.
And it's been going on in Mokina too. Hopefully we find out what's going on there too.
So. Yeah, I mean, it's, we're kind of on edge.
False alarms are bad.
They are.
Is that what that means?
Because we're all storm fatigued this summer.
Right, so and folks become apathetic to real alarms. So
that's right.
All right.
They do.
What we got next?
On to some sad news, unfortunately, from the Shedd Aquarium, where one of the beluga whales that recently was rescued has now died. Pikachu was 23 years old and arrived just 2 weeks ago. She was one of 8 whales to aquarium took in from a marine park in Canada that couldn't care for them anymore. Pikachu was blind in one eye, but still very social. Blood samples showed her to be dehydrated yesterday, and she unfortunately died overnight. The belugas are staying behind the scenes as they continue to adjust to their new home.
All right, and again, this is something that the Shedd was doing, out of kindness or good fortune or whatever to save these whales. So unfortunately, probably the travel and things like that, and new environment. I mean, yeah. All right, so we're gonna go to Nepal, right? Oh, to the zoo. Okay, this is pretty cool. My kids love the Lincoln Park Zoo.
Yes,
love it.
Right.
Lincoln Park Zoo is welcoming its newest resident, a Hoffman's two-toed sloth named Solana. How about that? Hoffman's two-toed sloths are native to Central and South America, where they live in trees or tropical rainforests. So Solana is 2 years old and can be found in the small mammal reptile house at the zoo. Zoo staff says she loves watermelon and eggplant. And remember, the zoo is free. One of Chicago's wonderful places to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, hey, some sad news out of Nepal, Demetrius. At least 160 people are now confirmed dead after flash floods hit the border of Nepal and China. More than 400 people are still missing after the waters washed away buildings and destroyed towns throughout the country. 47 American citizens are among them. Rescue crews continuing to comb through debris looking for survivors, but the heavy waters have made some roads impassable. India and other countries are offering humanitarian assistance.
And we're going to go to our resident glaciologist, glaciologist, with Nepal. There.
Yeah,
because I know this is probably something that you just happened. Would that have been you think? We don't know for sure, but would that have been a melting glacier or something?
I think it potentially. Actually, I believe I was reading earlier today it did come out. I need to double check that. But
well, yeah, I just want
yeah, they're one of the most rich water resources because all that glacier ice is locked up. But what we're seeing though is when those glaciers are calving and we get these pondings of water up higher elevations, and if it's a large enough chunk of ice that comes down, it can cause a failure.
Just basically, wow. Because I was thinking that's not rain. That's too. That water was 10 stories high. Yeah. So it's probably something like
more than likely.
Yeah, it's probably affected by a glacier.
Interesting. Yeah.
Wow. I think that number is going to go much higher than 160.
Unfortunately, it is. Yeah, really sad. But hey, in far north suburban Woodstock, All Seasons Orchard debuting their Dolly-themed corn maze. It was announced just one day before news broke of her passing. The maze features butterflies, her face, and the words, "An American Treasure." On the other side, a new lab aims to prove the safety of the food we eat. That plus we bet on weather, the challenge this week, and much, much more. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
All right, we don't apologize for anything. I don't know if any other show does it. But,
I don't know if they do, but we certainly do.
We bet on weather.
We bet on weather, and we don't shy away from it.
And our viewers like it too. Some of them just can't wait till we stop talking and get to the gambling.
That's right. They're ready for it every week. So how about a unique destination this week? This is a tough one.
So by midnight Thursday, submit a prediction for Friday's high temperature in Fahrenheit for Montefortino, right? Montefortino,
Italy. Yeah, how about that? That was courtesy of our last week winner, Dave Tidman. And Italy 7 hours ahead of us. So get your prediction by midnight tomorrow night, and we will have the new leaderboard on Friday. So that's pretty cool.
So it's going to be in Fahrenheit this
and how about some pictures, Demetrius? Let's check a few
Let's
of these
go to a couple. Oh, look at that.
Look at
Tom
that.
Evers has a cool shot there. You can kind of see those colors. You know, this is the time of the year, Bill, where you get the sunset's still 7:30. I think it's just a really spectacular, perfect
look at how
time.
it's reflecting.
You know, it'll look like this. You know, sun's already down there. You can tell.
That was taken viewed from the Saguenash Slough. Did I say that right?
Saguenash, but it's Slough, right?
Saguenash
Every time I see those, I'm like, it's Slough.
So, yeah, that's really cool shot. Yeah.
Oh, wait. But Tim's yelling, Slew? No way.
See, I botched that one, so my apologies. But yeah, what a cool shot, though. Very serene.
Believe me, you don't have to apologize to the Slew lobby.
We joked about this.
Yeah, this one nasty looking. This picture is a humming. No, that's not a hummingbird. This is a giant corn spider lying in wait at a flower patch from Frank McKinnon in Itasca.
Look at that.
I hope he zoomed in because that thing looks.
That's nasty, doesn't it? Yeah.
Nope.
Yep, and here's another one. This is a cool shot. This is Linda Gallo of Wheaton. She captured a close-up of a hummingbird moth. That looks like a big guy too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a bee. Yeah, it's camouflage. It's nature doing its thing.
Yeah.
And some big old sunflowers. You did a good job, Diane Criswanos of Norwood Park. This is from her backyard. Great shot that you have there. Time to start watering now, though, right?
Yeah, it's getting dry again.
Yeah. Submit your photos to weatherpics at submit. Well, you can go to wgntv.com/forecast, or you can email us at weatherpics@wgntv.com.
Yeah.
All right, so coming up, we got the blood moon, which is coming our way. Look up in the skies tomorrow. The moon will be 96% covered to create that blood moon effect. This happens when the Earth comes between the moon and the sun and casts a shadow over it. The best place to see it is on the East Coast, but we're in Chicago. You should be able to catch a glimpse of it with the best time at about 11:12 Chicago
And
time.
the good news is we should have clear skies at that time. So this ought to be really, really good
Go
viewing.
to the slough. Go take your kayak to the slough.
There you go. That's
and
right.
do that.
Yeah.
We'll
be back right after this with the complete 7-day forecast and track some of the hottest temperatures of the month. How about that? We'll be right back.
Cyclosporiasis. It's the sickness spreading nationwide this summer with symptoms that'll shred your stomach.
Explosive diarrhea. You get little to no warning, and then you gotta run and book it to the bathroom.
Reba Pusma got infected with the parasite, and so did more than 15,000 other people in almost every single state. More than 800 have had to go to the hospital, and 2 people have even died from the historic outbreak.
This is clearly the largest outbreak of this pathogen that we've ever had in the country.
That's Dr. Robert Redfield, the former director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That agency, along with the Food and Drug Administration, blamed the single biggest source of the outbreak on iceberg lettuce from Mexico that ended up at Taco Bell restaurants and in hundreds of grocery stores.
This should just underscore to the American public how important it is for us to increase our investment in both CDC and the FDA.
Enter this brand new state-of-the-art $228 million food safety lab. The FDA is building the 80,000 square foot facility in the Denver metro area. And when it opens in 2029, it'll be able to test food and find parasites, bacteria, and viruses faster than ever before.
It's exciting to see the resources being put into this type of facility that we know ultimately the entire country will benefit from.
Dr. Rachel Sindley is a food safety expert and the Associate Dean of the College of Health and Human Sciences at Metropolitan State University of Denver.
We do know that there are food labs that are outdated. We do know that we have opportunities to do things faster. We have opportunity to do things more efficiently.
If you're able to test faster at the end, if you get that information out there, does that mean fewer people get sick?
1000%. I think that's part of the issue with the current lettuce outbreak is it took so long to figure out the source.
Right now, the FDA inspects farms and food production facilities both randomly and for cause. The samples are then tested at one of the agency's 8 food safety labs across the country. And when the new lab in Colorado is complete, the whole genome sequencing will be done in a matter of hours.
They could know the same day that they received a sample whether or not it is ultimately the cause.
And how long is it taking right now in some cases?
Because there are not enough labs and a lot of the labs have potentially outdated equipment, what we could do in this lab in a day is taking some labs 5 to 7. So it's going to cut down the time tremendously.
And the FDA hopes that cuts down on the number of people getting severe symptoms from foodborne illnesses. In Denver, I'm Matt Morrow.
And we are back.
7 days.
Interesting, right? You know, no 90s.
But yeah, until the last day of the month. Isn't that wild? Like you said, that was be the least likely day you would expect a 90. You would expect it in the beginning of the month,
right?
Not at the end of the month. But here we are. We're going to flip-flop things a little bit. But we got some gorgeous weather the next few days. Get outside and enjoy it. And next chance is rain and storms doesn't come till late Saturday, maybe early Sunday. Right.
Hey, Sports Office is next. We'll be back tomorrow. Take it easy. And tomorrow morning, watch Courtesy Desk, I believe 8 a.m. hour on the morning show.
Yep.
See you then.